A friend of mine was recently in New York and she came back with some stuff for me. Playbills, as you can see, because she knows I love theatre and I'm just as theatre obsessed as she is. And I've had a look through some of these because I've never been to, I've been to New York, I've never been to any shows in New York. So I don't have a Broadway experience yet, hopefully I will in the future. But I found it interesting, to look at, at these playbills and see the difference between these and the programmes that they sell here in theatres in the UK. And I found quite a lot of differences between playbills and programmes, and it made me think which of them I personally prefer, because it is completely different. In America, in theatres on Broadway, they just give playbills to people for free, and in theatres in the West End, they sell programmes, which are different to playbills. I'll show you an example. This is a playbill from a Broadway show, Jersey Boys, and this is a programme from a West End show, Wicked. They're very different, as you can see, both in size and quality. So I thought I'd make a little list of some of the advantages and disadvantages of both playbills and programmes, and hopefully that will help me decide which of them I prefer. Now firstly, playbills, let's have a look at one of them, for example, Mary Poppins. It's got a nice little cover of the show, and you can tell what the show is and stuff based on the cover. It's not anything amazing, it's just like basic stuff. It has a theatre name and a picture of Mary Poppins, and that's about it. The back of the playbill is literally this, an advert for Chanel, which has absolutely nothing to do with the show. Unless Mary Poppins enjoys wearing Chanel, but for some reason I don't think that's the case. So I think the first advantage of a playbill, as I said before, is the fact that they're free. You don't have to pay for them. Anyone who pays for a ticket to go and see a show on Broadway gets a playbill, for free. So that's clearly a good thing because, free stuff is good, it's always good. And I think something else that's good about the fact that everybody in New York gets a playbill is that, say for example, it's your first time ever going to see a show on Broadway. Say you've been dragged along by a friend or something. Say you didn't want to go, and so your friends convinced you to go, and you're like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to give it a chance and go and see a show for the first time. If you're given a playbill for free during the interval, there's a chance you might want to look inside the playbill and have a look at the cast members and the production stuff and just read a bit about what you're watching, basically. And that's good because you're learning about the show, and that might help you become more interested in theatre in general and more interested in the show you're seeing as well. Whereas if you didn't have that playbill with you, there's more of a chance of not actually enjoying the show and not wanting to see any more shows after the one that you're watching. That's just a theory, that's just my opinion. It might not be the case, but that's what I think anyway. And this is only based on what I've been told. I've been told that when you go to see a show on Broadway, the usher just gives you a playbill, whether you want it or not. When they're helping you go to your seat and stuff, they just give you a playbill as well. So you basically have no choice but to have that playbill, and you can throw it away if you want, and some people do, I'm sure, but you still have that in your hands for a couple of minutes, and that's a good thing, I think. Another advantage of playbills is that they're all the same size and the same format. As you can see here, I'm going to show you some of them. They're all the same basically, literally same size, same format. They're the same, so if you want to, collect them and stuff, they look nicer, and for people who just love having the same thing and stuff, it's nice for collecting purposes, if that makes sense. They look nicer together because they're all the same. Moving on to disadvantages, I think the main one is that they're very, very basic. There's not much inside a playbill. There's very little info. You don't get any pictures of the actual production in the playbills. It's just literally, headshots of the actors in the show, and some of the song numbers are in there and stuff. Here is an example of the inside of a Priscilla playbill. This is all you've got. It's in black and white, so it's not very nice. You've got the headshots of some of the main actors, I think, and some information about the understudies and some of the numbers in each act. And yeah, that's basically it. Let me just flip it through. That's pretty much the end of it. All the rest of the playbill is pretty much other stuff that have nothing to do with the show. They're just advertisements. Yep, there's an advertisement for a Disney cruise line, for example, which looks very exciting. There's an interview with Nick Jonas. He's not in Priscilla, so that has nothing to do with the show. But yeah, like I said, there's very, very little information about the actual show. And what you do see in playbills is usually not very good quality. It's just literally some pictures of the cast members in black and white, and a little bit of information about the show and the acts and the songs that they sing in them. And that's about it. Also, as I touched on this before, the quality of playbills is basically like the quality of like very basic magazines, cheap magazines that you can buy. I mean, there's one for Anything Goes, which is a big musical on Broadway, and I mean it's in black and white, the cover. I mean that's not even pretty. The Mary Poppins one was at least in colour, so that was at least nice, and so was the Jersey Boys one. But all the other ones are in black and white. Like, what? Spider-Man? Would it have been really hard to make it red and blue? I mean, what? But I suppose that's understandable because they are free and you don't pay for them, so obviously they can't spend a lot on them. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about Playbills for now. Now for programmes. Here's a basic Billy Elliot programme. As you can see, it's a lot bigger than Playbills. It's definitely better quality. I mean, the cover is a lot thicker. It's just obvious that it's better quality overall. The back of the programme isn't just some random advertisement. It's still Billy, and it has something to do with the show, obviously, and it just looks a lot more classy and nice. Programmes also usually feature quite a lot of pictures from the show, as you can see here, for example. There's a picture, and there's actually like a big poster thing that you can open. Oh god. There's loads of pictures from the cast members and stuff, and that's nice. That's like a nice thing to have if you want to remember the show. Generally, when you buy a program, pretty much everything in the program is about the show that you're watching. I mean, literally from the first page, we have stuff about Billy Elliot, how it all started, an interview with Elton John, loads of information about the cast members, the understudies. Basically, the whole thing is about Billy Elliot, really. It's the same with Wicked. I mean, I have a Wicked program here with me as well. You start from the first page, it's all Wicked stuff, Wicked stuff, Wicked stuff, Wicked stuff, literally, and you've got like really nice posters again here in the middle of it, and the back of the program is also Wicked related. So obviously in general they just look a lot nicer with more information in them and more pictures, and I mean that's to be expected really, because you've paid for programs, whereas you don't pay for playbills. The only disadvantage I can see with programs, other than the fact that they're obviously not free and you have to pay for them, is the fact that as a result of them not being free, not everybody actually gets them. I mean, not that I can say this as a fact, but my assumption is that less than 70% of the people who actually go and see a show each night actually end up buying a program. Obviously, like I said, that's just an assumption. It might be more than that, it might be less than that. It depends on what night and what show and stuff. But it's definitely a fact that not every single person who goes and sees a show each night ends up buying a program. And that can cause some problems because, there's information in the program about the cast members, about the production, about who you're watching, if there's any understudies on and stuff. And if you don't buy a program, you're not going to know any of these stuff. As a big Billy Elliot fan, I've heard so many people ask this question: who was playing Billy on this certain night? I forgot to buy a program. I couldn't be bothered to buy a program, and I wasn't sure. I'm not sure who I saw as Billy. Can someone help me? I think that's sad because it's nice to know and appreciate the talent that you see on stage and to know who you've actually seen on stage. And I see that question on like internet forums and stuff so many times. And not just with Billy Elliot either, with lots of other shows as well. When understudies are on, people can get confused, and people sometimes don't even realise they're actually watching an understudy, and they might think that they're watching the lead when the understudy's on, because they don't have a program, because they're not really familiar with the show, and they might just assume that it's the lead, and they're going to be going home thinking, oh, I saw the lead and she was amazing. Whereas all this time it was an understudy on, putting a lot of effort into the show and giving it their all, and they're not going to get credit for it because some theatre goer decided that they didn't want to spend money on a program, and so they're not going to know who was on. And as a general supporter of understudies, I think that's sad because I think they deserve to get the credit for what they've done, and when people don't give them credit, I think that can be a sad thing and a negative thing. I don't have a Billy Elliot playbill with me right now, but in playbills, as far as I know, they usually put like information about which boy is playing Billy each night and stuff in the program, so you know who you're watching. And it's the same with understudies. I mean, I'm looking at a playbill of Rent right now, and inside there's a slip here with information of all the cast members who are in the show based on the order of appearance and stuff. And I think that's great because you know who you're watching. Mary Poppins is a show that includes kids in the show, and obviously there's different kids playing the roles. And inside it, as you can see again, there's a slip with names of the children who played the roles, the characters on that specific day. And I think again that's brilliant because you know who you're watching, and therefore you can give credit to who you're watching, and you're going to know who it was on stage that gave you such an amazing performance. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of about programs versus playbills. I don't think I've completely come to a conclusion yet. I think generally I tend to prefer programs just because, like I said, they look nicer, there's more information in them, and I mean I don't mind paying for them. They're usually between, I don't know, £3 and £10 maybe at the most. And yes, that can be quite expensive, but if you're going to a show and if you really enjoy the show, then I don't see why you wouldn't want to spend a bit of money on a program to have as a memory. You know, especially when the programs look so nice, like this one, for example. There's so much in them that, you know, they're definitely worth it in my opinion. So yeah, you might have different opinions. I look forward to hearing your thoughts if you want to leave comments and stuff. But yeah, I definitely think I prefer programs, and maybe that might change one day if I actually go to Broadway one day and see a show, and you know, when I'm actually in a theatre on Broadway looking at a program, I might change my opinion. I don't know. But for now, I'm happy with the theatre programs that they provide here in the West End. I mean, seriously, it doesn't even compare.